In today's video I'm going to show you how to make a small box like this. You're going to probably fit a few rings in there or something. It's my first project. It's only a small project, but it's still quite fun. I'm just making it out of some decking I've got. It's not that big, but it's big enough to make a box like this. I'm going to change it around a bit and so the lid doesn't have the tenon, so this the actual box has the tenon, so it'll be easier to turn down. So I'm going to mark the centres up on here, and mount it in between centres on the lathe, and then we'll get started. I wear safety goggles and a dust mask for the first bit, turning it down to a cylinder. Just cause I used the safety goggles just because it's the shavings just normally fly into my face. So I use this, and then I use this almost all the time just because the dust is quite annoying in a small workshop, and I don't have a fan to take the dust out. Still some more to go. Okay, now that I've turned it down to a cylinder, I'm just going to take the tool rest out and do some light sanding work with about, I don't know, 180 grit, just so it's a little less sanding later. Now I've sanded it down just a little bit, and I'm going to start by turning the lid like this one. Okay, I'm just going to mark out the box with a what's this, parting tool. Just going to mark out the lid and the rest of the box. Okay, so this is going to be the lid down here. I'm going to mount this tenon in the chuck at the other end, and well, when I part it off, and then I can turn the inside and mount it on a block, just a tight fit, so I can turn the outside. And this is the main body of the box, which I'm going to part off now and then mount in the lathe later, or I might keep it on the, I'm not really sure yet. Okay, that's parted off quite nicely. So I've got the lid here, the main body of it here, and I'll just turn this off. I've got this which I'm going to mount in the chuck so it doesn't damage the main body, and then I can turn the inside out. Unfortunately I parted it a bit too thin. Well, I haven't parted it, but the bit inside there is a bit too thin, so it might break whilst I'm turning it, so I might have to do something else instead, or make another one first. Just mounting the lid in the chuck. You can make sure it's straight, put it up quite tight. I think this is a skew chisel. It's used for getting in to do beads, I think. Don't take my word for it, but I just use that to flatten off the edge so it fits flat on the actual box. I'm just going to finish it up now with some teak oil, and then I'm going to buff it later with a clean rag. which is this is the main body, and this is just a block I kept on to help turn the inside of the box, making sure it's roughly in the centre. And then we're going to bring the tailstock up and make sure it's in the centre. Here you can see me boring down into the main body with a drill bit attached in the chuck at the tailstock. I put some red tape on the drill bit as a depth gauge, so I know when my chisel reaches the end of that hole, I should stop there and flatten off the end. There we go. It seems to have worked quite nicely, and I'm just going to use that as a gauge now. I'm going to start off with a fingernail gouge and work my way from the outside in. I think that's how you meant to do it, I'm not quite sure. Noticed what you probably noticed a few minutes ago. I've been doing this the wrong way around. I should have put a tenon on here and then hollowed out the centre. I don't think I can do that now. It's quite thin. If I just zoom in here. Thickness. It's about, I don't know, this is about half the thickness of this tenon, this lip here. I might be able to save it. I'm going to try. If not, I'm going to use the other end of this tenon here and try and make it so you can have a bit in the top. I don't know what that would be used for, but I'm going to try and save it. Bit annoying though. Well, I just finished working in there. You can see there's no hole at the back anymore, so that means I've gone far enough. I'm just going to sand up the inside and the outside, being very careful not to touch this tenon on the outside. It doesn't matter about the inside. I just want that really tight for the lid to fit on. So I'm going to just sand that down and then oil it with some teak oil and then puff it up and then turn the lid. You can see here I'm attaching the lid to the box with some regular duct tape or gaff tape, whatever. I tried to use like electrical tape, but it was too elasticated and it kept springing out, so I used duct tape, which worked quite well. It didn't leave much of a mark, and I had to use it because the tenon I turned on the box was a bit too small, so the lid didn't fit on as tightly as I would have liked. So I'm just gonna buff this part of the body. To make it nice and shiny. On the inside. Turn it. Just like that. So there we go. After all that effort, you've got a tiny little box with tiny little lid. Look at that. And it's very well finished as well. I'm not sure what we could use it for. You could probably use it for rings. I wouldn't use it for rings. I hope that was enough instructions for you to follow along and make your own little box on your own lathe. So I hope you have fun. If I'm doing anything wrong or have any tips, please leave a comment.